6:30. Reminder to everyone who's here that this meeting is being digitally recorded, so please be respectful of each other, both when you speak as well as when you're listening to others who are speaking. And should you wish to take part in any part of the meeting, we ask that you only simply raise your hand, and I will recognize you, and will you please give your name and your address before you ask us or tell us whatever it is that you want. So with that in mind, is there anyone here for open session? Okay,
Mr. Chair, there is a number of people here virtually,
okay,
so is anyone virtually here for open session? Open session is not the public hearing for the budget or the annual town meeting warrant.
okay. So, Katie, for our communications announcements?
All right, so this Saturday, April 20th, from 8 to noon, we have Keep Hubbardston Beautiful. The Girl Scouts will be there for a bottle and can drive, and the Boy Scouts will be there with a metal recycling. They are charging either $1 per item or $10 per truckload. It is a fundraiser for both of them. The bottles and can, 5-cent returnable, you just drop off. I will be there with my husband's pickup truck, which he's super thrilled about, to collect trash. Don't tell him, shh. So, I will have bags as well, so if you need a bag, you can come get a bag. If you have bags that you filled up with, you know, all those fun little party nips that people like to throw out, or the Dunkin' Donuts cup, or whatever, feel free to bring them up to me, and we'll throw them in the back of my husband's truck that I will have to clean later, and I'll get rid of them afterwards. But that is from 8 to noon this Saturday at the rec field, and again, it's a fundraiser for the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, so feel free to come up and drive on through. We'll all be up there, rain or shine, but I think it's supposed to be a nice day, so let's hope for that, because some years we've had snow and it was horrible. April 24th, at the library, they're going to be having a poetry reading from a native Hubbardsstonian named John Hodgen, 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 I believe that's how you pronounce it. Anyways, April 24th from 6 to 7 at the library, so look for that.
I think that might be Hodgen.
Hodgen?
Hodgen.
Hodgen, Hodgen?
Yeah.
Okay. So that will be at the library from 6 to 7 on April 24th. Let's see, what else do we have? We have May 21st from 5:30 to 7:30. There is a pastel paint workshop at the library, which they will have sign-ups for, so look for that. May 27th, Memorial Day Parade. They've been working really hard on that. The step off will be at 11, and then there's going to be a ceremony to follow up at the Common as usual. And then, last I heard, there'll be a fun little like Sunday thing or something here at the Senior Center usually, or some kind of gathering afterwards to mosey on over to. And that's on actual Memorial Day. Again, step off is at 11. May 30th, there will be a West African drumming at the library from 6 to 7 p.m. Hubbardston Fair, wrong event, jeez, they're all blurring together, is on June 8th this year from 9 to 2 with a rain date of the 9th. And I do want to let everybody know there are still scholarships available. One, the deadline has passed, but there's still 3 others. So the next deadline for anyone that is going to college is the Country Hen Scholarship. It is April 22nd is the deadline, and the application you can find either, is it on the town website or email?
It is on the town.
It's on the town website, all right. The next one for the deadline is the Lions. Theirs is May 5th, and you can either find theirs on by contacting their Facebook page, or the high schools have them. And then the last one is the libraries. Hubbardston Library has 2 $500 ones, and those, the deadlines are June 30th. So there are still some opportunities available for that. And also, if you have not gotten your papers yet to run for an elected body, please do so, because you're running out of time for signatures. The signatures are due the 23rd. Second? Third.
9 days.
23rd. So please, feel free to volunteer and go pull papers from the town clerk.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any comments questions about, or any other reports to be given to us at that time? Alright, seeing none, we'll move on. We're going to go to the Citizens Academy recognition. We have some certificates to give out. First of all, would you like to say anything before about it, or do you just
Yes.
want? And then we'll take,
Yeah.
go ahead.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to thank you all for participating in the first Citizens Academy. We'll probably aim to do them biannually. Every year seems to be a little bit too much. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you now know something that you did not know before. And I would really like to thank you all for participating in this. Hopefully it got you from those dreary last days of winter right into spring where we're pushing 70. I would like to thank Tricia for getting involved almost immediately after being hired and really getting her boots dirty and getting to work on something that she knew limited about herself. So I really think she did a wonderful job with this, and the people are really going to remember her work during this as a positive aspect of what we went through. I'd like to, would like to thank all of the speakers and all of you for asking questions, mostly Tom had questions. So Tom, I jokingly said in the beginning that he might have known more about government than many of the presenters, so I'm glad we made it through and that it all went well, and I appreciate those that joined the Academy and knew a little bit more than some to ask questions and sort of poke the bear with some of the different speakers. Again, I'd like to thank you and the presenters and the select board for allowing us to have this event. It could have failed, but I'm really happy that it did not. We look forward to doing more things like this in the future to involve the public in their government. Like, that's the one thing I hope you take from this, that it's your government. The residents of Hubbardston, this belongs to you. It can and will be what you make it. So again, we have certificates for you this evening. Thank you very much, and please volunteer. And if you have questions on anything, anytime, please reach out. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you. I would personally like to congratulate you, thank you, and also on behalf of the board. Those of you who were here tonight and those who couldn't make it, we're very pleased that this was so successful. It speaks highly of you folks, that you were interested in it and saw it through. I would like to urge you, something we mentioned in the other room, and Nate has also touched upon it. As I said, the town cannot survive without volunteers. We have a lot of openings. And now that you are graduates, so to speak, don't let the fact that question may be in your head, because it was in mine when I first started too, although I did know a little bit more about government. What can I possibly do? You know, I don't know anything about these things. Don't let that happen. If you wanna learn more and get involved with the town, I assure you that the door is not gonna slam in front of you when you are standing there. You will be welcomed through that door, whatever way you want to help us, volunteer, committee, run for office, whatever. We need them and we encourage them, and I would encourage you to do that. And so, yes.
Lois Tyler from Hale Road. Are there things that you can get involved without having to get signatures? Cause I
Yes.
personally
Oh, no, yeah.
would have a problem going to you for signatures.
Just give me the paper, I'll
know.
get signatures. I got you, I got you, Lois.
No,
Don't you
listen.
worry, the list of volunteer opportunities is going to be in the final email that Tricia's gonna send you guys.
The signature gathering is for the elected
Exactly.
offices,
Yeah,
okay?
there's other volunteer committees that, you just become appointed, so, but yeah, if you need signatures, just come see me out.
So, we have some certificates we would like to give out to you. I'll ask Katie, Vice Chair, to help me on this. I hope I will not butcher anyone's name, and I apologize ahead of time if I do.
Yeah, if you guys wanna go to one of the larger sides of the room, that side will probably
Yeah,
be easier.
Yep, don't-
Okay. First is, is it Lois Tyler, okay? And, there are actually two, Terry Tyler, she couldn't be here tonight, so we're giving you both. Okay, great.
You all just get up and I'll do
No,
this.
here, I want to get to it. I gotta read it though, okay.
Alright.
Jane Abbott. Tom Robinson. Deb Riley. Kelsey Harrington. Melissa Prentice. Stephen Smith. Alicia Muck. Dixie Estes, is that correct? Stephanie Friend. And Bob Hatch. Congratulations and thank you very much, all of you, for making it as successful as it was.
You don't have to stay, and I
Yes,
know some of you have timelines to follow, but if you wanted to stay, we're gonna have a public hearing in a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll take a brief recess of 5 or so minutes for people who wanna lead, and then we will be continuing. But there is a public hearing to be held here, so.
Thank you all, please don't be strangers.
Thank you so much, it was great. I don't wanna leave or have to. You not recognize me?
We understand.
Probably talk to someone. Not
You are not handcuffed to the
Yeah.
chair.
Feeling well, maybe. 8.5.
Yes, so like I don't email, it'll probably
He
be
decides
tomorrow.
where we walk
We'll
and
go
when we
out, it'll
walk
have lists of volunteers who have worked like it, where they can pick up their certificates.
Today, but today I'm like, no, no.
Closing
We're
information,
just
and
waiting
then
at the end
what's
of the
gonna happen
driveway, and
is
that's it,
in,
done.
like, hopefully, we're supposed to have this presentation as well.
You can come sit at the table, I would
We gotta
imagine.
give them some grace, I guess.
Going on?
On top of that,
We're doing the consent agenda.
Filling in
I'm
the,
come back in on
No,
Friday.
I mean,
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
do
do
a
yeah.
She's coming to sit.
No, she's just coming to chat.
on the,
It's coming to be a test.
for everyone to see.
There's gonna be
So
lots of
this
tests.
is put in there, so hopefully, and also that he has to make sure.
No, you're gonna be, it's gonna be a couple of things before you.
Springtime, yeah, you see a lot of-
Or
But
when
yeah,
you're
you're not
calling, you come up to the
changing
table.
these benches.
Rather,
Needs to
if
be-
you feel more
you're not
comfortable,
over-
or if you feel more comfortable back there, that's fine.
Well, I don't wanna be the only one.
Yeah, well.
Probably not.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I didn't
My
recognize.
pleasure. Really, the week I was hired, he was like, "Hi, special project, here you go," and I was like,
What's going on, Jeff?
Busy,
It was a great way to meet everybody.
busy time, my boys gonna be graduating.
From what?
Different aspects of everything.
St. John's High School in
This is
Shrewsbury.
not where I came from, but
On the 18th of May, it's gonna go to Suffolk University.
growing up because,
So, yeah.
And we have
No, I, well, I
I
think
got
that's
the fiberglass in my hand
Where
today.
you going?
graduation.
I was like, oh.
my other sister.
Yeah, there's a couple pools we couldn't get that I thought we were gonna get, and we just couldn't, so there's 15 instead of 17.
Mediterranean cruise.
But that's,
Out of Barcelona, we're doing it in Western Carolina.
my mayor has
Lawrence, be,
My first day.
Staples, et cetera, of the lower part. And then we're gonna spend 5 days in Paris.
Preschool, so.
Because we had an exchange.
So
Wait till that second, trust me, I freaked out these times over the years too, over stuff.
It's like
They're both
30.
lawyers, and they live in Paris. They come back,
I know.
they just summer job.
Yeah.
I have to look into that too.
Once Peter comes back, we'll start.
Mike's here.
Right.
Mike's here.
Well, and they're just like, not as
So everyone on that screen is a factual person.
Everyone on that screen is-
Chief, let us know. Now, will they put their question to you, or will they let us know? How will we know that they want to
And they
speak?
call it the one, artificial intelligence.
Well, was it posed to somebody who maybe has not connected, or can't hear, or we can't hear them?
Hi.
Wait a few more years.
Yes, so I have the team's programming coordinator.
Well, I just
And
hired as the town
I
clerk actually.
reached out to
You did a good job.
Muting them is I never have to get up and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I can mute them, but I can't unmute them.
I mean, I'm happy to join if you don't know, but I don't.
You can't put the little clicker over here and scroll it around, like right here in front of you, it won't go that far, the mouse.
Did you get it working?
Can I do that?
I don't know, that's what I'm asking.
And I don't think
Genius.
seniors should be reading the books that I read. There will be
The mouse.
presentations.
Wired.
Oh, you need a wireless,
Yes,
what is
things
wrong
that
with
we
you,
use.
sir?
So, I'm gonna.
Yeah, wireless mouse, I bet you can do it from here, and then you can go click.
Sure they make,
I don't know.
Yeah, something.
You can ask.
She does,
What?
but I think.
Melissa, what are we talking about?
A non-senior board that is wider.
I'm not asking.
I mean, I'm just waiting for him to
I'm
come
with the
back.
Chris.
Programming, we need to do a few more adult programs as well, but teen programming is.
Oh,
Well, we could start.
I need to be phone, that'd be weird.
I didn't
No,
get
I
any
should be
cake.
good. I can, once I get up and do it, I'm gonna figure it out in the future.
Why didn't you get cake? Go get cake.
Because I got something.
And just take a bite, talk your own, we'll be fine. Whatever. Just manners.
Have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, manners. As long as you ain't spitting it everywhere, it's fine.
And we know what happened to those people that said that.
So my brother-in-law and.
There you go.
They both lost their heads.
I know. Where's the meat?
Yeah,
Yeah.
were you taking a tour? Cause we didn't know you went outside, we thought you were using the restroom.
Okay, we will,
Sorry about that.
call the meeting to order again. And the first item we will be taking up is the public hearing, the annual town meeting warrant, budget, select board review, public comment session, et cetera. So I would ask Nate if you would kick it off.
Absolutely. 1 second, Mr. Chair, so we make my screen shareable.
Need a bigger screen.
Deal, I'll put it on the next meeting.
We don't have any money.
65-inch screen,
Yeah,
yeah.
I did learn it to make a little bit.
Yeah, that's at least better. Can you make it wider on your screen? Yeah, there you go, a little bit. That's better. Maybe if you don't see it.
All right, thank you all for joining us today for what I've been calling the review and public hearing. It, per the town charter, and what we have to do is simply a public hearing, but I felt like it was quite important to explain the articles and budget in a open, communicative way, instead of just saying, hey, do you have any questions? What are they? Let's go. See you at town meeting. So we're going to begin this evening with the annual town meeting warrant. We will then, after the warrant, because it'll be the shorter part, transition to the budget, where I will open up the budget and we will go through line by line. Since I learned my lesson from last year, I ask that the questions and statements pertain to the part of the budget that we are on. And if we have to stay on a certain part, like if there was one part that was really a lot bigger than all the other parts, we can stay on that part for as long as need be, as long as we're not being repetitive or improper. But we will start this evening with the annual town meeting warrant. I apologize to those planning buffs that showed up ready to talk about the zoning articles, but those will be spoken upon in their own right on Thursday at the public hearing of the planning board. Chairman Rowe was unfortunately unable to make it last minute, and I could get us
In trouble.
not into trouble. I would prefer to not have to speak on the zoning bylaws at this time. I could give you a Spark Notes rendition, but not much further than that. Yes, sir.
Are these documents published?
Yeah.
Where can I get them?
They're all on the website, and because I know what you're going to now say, I will
Yeah.
print them for you.
No,
And
I can find them
Yeah.
if they're there, but I couldn't find them.
They're on what I call the annual town meeting web page. The budget and the town meeting draft are all located on the website. On the left-hand side, you're gonna see a bunch of buttons. Some of them say YouTube videos, some of them say, but one of them says town meeting. If you click that, the top link says 2024 annual town meeting. When you click that, that's gonna be where you can find all of this stuff. I update it whenever I change it. I update it. I make sure to keep everybody updated on the process. There are images. There's a nice picture of me and the and the treasurer collector and the town accountant. So you can always go and look at that.
I'll dig deeper, thank you.
Yeah. But yes, I can send it to you because I have to send you
No,
some stuff for the
I'll be
library
fine.
anyhow. Article 1, to choose necessary officers. Mr. Moderator, would you mind if I throw you on the spot and ask you to explain the standing articles?
Well, considering that we have not discussed this ahead of time, it's always enjoyable. Essentially, Article 1 deals with the town election, which is held approximately a week after the annual town meeting.
Thank you very much, sir. Article number 2 is another standing article that allows for committees or town officers to make reports if the town moderator were to allow that type of thing. I have only been here for one annual town meeting, and there was not a report of any standing boards or committees or any organizations. Has there been really anything like that in the recent future? In the recent past? In the recent past?
So, there have been, at times, a state of the town report that has been given by either the chair of the select board or the vice chair. But that's not a regular practice.
Right.
That's very much the exception.
All right. Article 3, another standing article, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to enter into agreements with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the construction and maintenance of public highways for the 12-month period beginning July 1, 2024, or to take any action relative thereto. This allows the town to enter into a whole year's worth of agreements with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. We want what they're going to be doing. We don't wanna hold them up in red tape, so that allows that. Any questions?
And that is typically part of the consent agenda.
Yes, we do the first 5 or 6 as one vote. It is called the consent agenda. It is very similar to what is done at the select board meeting. Article 4, also part of the consent agenda, also a standing article. To see if the town will vote to accept educational grants and aid for fiscal year 2025 to be expended for authorized purposes by the Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School and the Quabbin Regional School District. This allows the school district for a year to take in grants and other such funding without having to go back to the town or to the select board each and every time. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to authorize the continuation of the Holden Hospital account for the fiscal year 2025 to be used on the purposes specified in the trust fund settlement. So in, I want to say, the early 90s, like the Holden Hospital closed, and with that came the creation of the Holden Hospital Trust Fund, which provides monetary support for specific things to the towns that were in the region of the Holden Hospital when it was open. Right now, some of the main things, the main efforts that the Holden Hospital Fund is supporting are fire services and EMT type services. In the past, it has also supported Board of Health. So this is allowing that to continue each year. It's Article 5, it's part of the consent agenda. Any questions on Holden Hospital? Article 6, to see if the town will vote to fix the maximum amount that may be spent during fiscal year 2025, beginning on July 1st, 2024, for the revolving funds established pursuant to Chapter 4, Section 6 of the Hubbardston General Bylaws for certain departments, boards, committees, agencies, or officers as follows. This sets spending limits on revolving accounts, because there is a chance that these accounts could end up through donations, through sales, whatever is funding the revolving account, make a decent amount of money in 1 year, or make a lot of money in 1 year. This sets the amounts that these different funds may spend. Does anyone have any questions on that? Do we get it? Concom, $3,000. Temporary driveway permit fund, $2,500. The grave fund, $10,000. The Hubbardston Special Events Fund, $50,000. Late fee dog license fund, $10,000. Mart Transportation Management Fund, the $35,000. Open Burn Pit Fund, $11,000. Planning Board Fund, $20,000. Recycling Fund, $5,000. Septic Fund, $20,000. The Board of Health Revolving Fund will also be added back to this docket this year after a conversation with the Board of Health at a recent meeting. In 2019, it was voted to change it and send all of the Board of Health monies into the general fund. That was found to not work in best practices, due in part to turnover of staff, to turnover of boards. It just will be cleaner and will be able to be separated and managed a lot easier with the recreation of the Board of Health revolving fund.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So are these funds that you can draw off of?
These are funds that they can draw off of up to these allocated amounts. That's basically what this is doing. It's protecting a much larger amount of money in some cases. In some cases, it's not much larger than,
So who actually I mean, the first 6 articles you're voting as one.
yes.
So if this is money being allocated or used by whomever, I'm not sure who has the authority to, why would we put that into that group of 6? Do you follow what I'm saying? Maybe somebody
These are
knows.
revolving funds.
Yes, these are revolving funds.
A revolving fund, for instance, you're on a committee, somebody comes to you and says, they wanna do something, and you send, you have to, as a committee, you have to spend money, and they have to reimburse it. So you're allowed to spend some money, and then the applicant has to replenish it.
So it's like a loan, kind of?
Yes, it's called a revolving fund. Now, are they all revolving funds?
No.
All right, so
They're
you'll have to
revolving
clarify
fund,
that.
donation funds, they're all funds in which money can go two ways. And they set limits, and they also set who can spend the money.
How does the big one go two ways, the events?
Cause they there's a donation account associated with special events. It doesn't even have $50,000 in it, so I don't know when that number was chosen.
That was because of fireworks for the future, just to put it in there if the next, cause I probably won't be in charge when the fireworks have to be
Yeah.
done next, but to set it up that way, by the time that happens, fireworks are expensive now, I can only imagine how much they will be then, so.
So these are replenished?
These are not replenished, these are amounts that are set. Some of them have more than the allocated amount set in the account, some of them do not, but the revolving account has money coming in and has money going out. The money going out can only be spent up to the limit set by town meeting. The money coming in can be, I hope it's a ton. I hope it's a lot of money coming into all of these accounts.
Yeah, so for example, like one of them is like dog licensing, so people have dogs who pay for it.
Sir?
Stephen Smith, West Common Pond Road. New to this, so it'd be fair to say that these are not things that our property taxes are funding.
These are
This is
not
No.
things that your
additional
property taxes are
outside.
funding.
Fair
No.
enough, thank you.
No.
Someone asked a question.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, was that what that noise was?
Yeah.
Do we know who?
No one asked a question.
Oh, right.
I'm sorry, I think I may have triggered something there. I think the point is, these are not budget numbers. These are spending limit numbers, correct?
Yes, that's exactly what
So-
it is.
So we're not saying the Concom has $3,000. We're saying, we don't know what the Concom has. They might have $20,000, but they can only spend $3,000 a year.
Yes, that's exactly what.
Thank you.
Can you
Right.
state your name and address for the record?
Oh, I apologize. Jocelyn Deneen, 23 Cruise Road.
Thank you.
And I don't know why I'm showing as unknown. I apologize for that.
It's very ominous, like,
Yeah, I was trying to hide, but.
so budget articles, now we're done with that consent agenda. The budget articles we will review as part of the budget, right after we're done reviewing the 23 articles that are on the warrant. So we're gonna skip Article 7, which does the general operating budget. We're going to skip Article 8, which funds the assessment for the Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School. We're going to skip Article 9, which funds the Quabbin Regional School District assessment. We're going to skip Article 10, which funds debt of the Quabbin Regional School District. Article 11 is also something that does not come from your tax dollar. This sets the spending limit for the Cable Advisory Committee to run cable operations throughout the whole year. It is funded through a small fee on everyone's bill. So it is not taxpayer money. We do a lot with a very little when it comes to cable operations, especially for a town of Hubbardston's size. So that is great to have. It opens the town wide up. I think no one watches more meetings than the vice chair, but but we do have a good amount of people that pay attention to that on both YouTube and on cable access television, and this this warrant article funds that. Any questions? The select board can't ask questions, like,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it alone.
alright.
I'll talk to you later.
Article 12 is the transfer of the capital budget, which was capital expenditures budget, which was given the approval of the finance committee, the select board, and the capital improvement committee earlier this year. It is $271,000, $235 to be exact, from free cash to propose funding of the following. A Gas Boy fuel pump system, which manages the amount of gas that goes into each vehicle and separates it by department, for $13,235. I also did not know what that was prior to doing the capital improvement plan for this year. The town for the last 3 or 4 years has committed an additional $100,000 each year in the capital improvement plan to the additional repair and paving of roads. This is something that we have really valued. I hope to be able to do this for as long as is feasible. There is $12,000 for a heat pump grant match. So what happened here is we were working on a Green Communities grant application with the library and the library board of trustees, and we had worked together to have the library trustees agree that if we had received the grant to do the heat pumps or the HVAC system in the library, that they would cover the $12,000 out of library trust funds. Right around that same time, the boiler went. So at that point, the library had to cover I believe $21,000 or $22,000 boiler, and in exchange, I had talked to them about how it was appropriately timed for us to seek the funding from the capital improvement plan. So that's what we did, and that's what that would fund. It would be the match of a $187,000 grant. $9,000 for the DPW for a John Deere mower.
That's gonna be a big mower.
It's one of the big mowers.
I was like, Jesus, it's an expensive mower.
Vault organization and management for the town clerk's office. This was actually submitted by me because I know we have had a large amount of turnover in the office of the town clerk, and it is very, very important that the documents in the town clerk's vault are maintained, organized properly, and this will allow us to tossed, what can be tossed, organized, what can be organized, and ensure that it is all cataloged for the future. I did this and worked with this company. They are sole proprietors, meaning no one else does exactly what they do in government. I worked with them in the town of Princeton in the project, which was triple the size of this project, ended up being awesome. They put it all in boxes, organized the boxes, you get shelves. It's a really cool project that I hope will be funded. The new, hopefully, town clerk is here this evening. This is Melody Green. If anyone would like to say hello, she, with ratification from the select board, will be the town clerk beginning on Monday. So less than a week from today. So no more time to run. Yes, sir.
Does it get scanned?
It does not get scanned, but in order to potentially scan it in the future, we would have to do this, cause right now it is a giant mess. Not that anyone couldn't make sense of, but it is just
Not enough hours in the day.
different, there's not enough hours in the day, we couldn't afford senior work-offs to do it, and it is different styles from different people all kind of merging into something that just needs to be organized.
So, question.
Go.
Is there not a policy in place for that?
There is going to be a policy in place
Thank you.
for that, and to ensure that it
Stays that way.
remains.
So, everybody is in sync year after year.
Yeah, it's going to be very similar to what we did with the Laserfish. And
Well, hopefully we won't have to worry about it, cause
yeah,
she's coming on it.
I'm going to pass the mic to Chief Kuchar to discuss the $87,000 for a police cruiser, which is on a biannual cycle.
Okay, so we need to replace one of our cruisers because as they get older and more mileage on them, they become less safe for our officers to drive them to emergencies. So we'd like to replace one of the cruisers. Hopefully, it won't be all of the money that I've requested, but a big portion of that goes to a new radio, a two-way radio, so that the officer can speak to dispatch and things like that. The older radios we have in there now are becoming less reliable, and they don't work with our new radio equipment that is going in on these towers. So we need to replace those, and then the rest is outfitting and the cost of the cruiser.
Just have a question. Lois Howe here. Do we ever work in conjunction with other towns when they're needing to order police cruisers, so that when you order 10, maybe you'll get a bigger discount versus one, or is that
We
even?
don't, you can't, that's not it's really not a possibility to be able to do that.
But by working with certain dealers that are on the state bid list or are on certain consortiums that we as a town are part of, you get pricing like that. However this will go due to the procurement laws, we will end up getting what is the best price for a municipality. Please note that I said for a municipality. Like, you as Lois could go out and get a Chevy Tahoe and then suit it up for cheaper than the town could ever do so. That's why we run into problems where it will cost $15 million for the town to build a building, but you could build it for maybe $9. Not that you would ever build a $9 million building, but that is the case there. Anything else on police cruisers, chief? Alright.
Somebody else has another question. Okay, thank you.
The SCBA replacement is the breathing apparatus that the fire department uses. It was placed on the capital improvement wish list per se as a $120,000 purchase. But when I spoke with the chief, we figured that it would be very reasonable to kind of tuck the money away over each year instead of having to take a $120,000 hit, which on any year could be the equivalent of half or more of our free cash, so that would be a very difficult capital year. It is our, knock on wood, hope that we will receive a grant down the road that makes this money be able to flow back into other capital expenditures. But to be safe, we do have to save for those breathing machines that are not only mandated, but we would need them even if it was not mandated for the protection of the men and women that serve on our fire department. Any questions? Any questions from those watching from home? All right.
Yes, could you just explain the item between the police and fire? I didn't hear you speak to that, but maybe I missed it.
Oh, yeah, you missed that.
I did miss it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
annually, the capital improvement plan contains $20,000 or an amount of money. This year it happens to be 20,000, last year it was 19, for the hardware update costs of IT across the whole organization. This year we got a couple of computers, a server that is housed in the police department. It is the only monies that keep our hardware up to date. Should we not continue to put it in the capital improvement budget, it would have to likely come from somewhere after a little while, because we cannot expect the town to operate without at least semi-modern equipment. We do,
Oh, yeah.
we do push it a little further than maybe I want to. You can look at my nice 2019 Dell. Like, but that is what that line is.
Okay, thank you for explaining. And then just an adjunct question. In reference to the library, and I, again, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that the elementary school no longer has a library and that the students use the public library as their school library, if you will. And is that true, first of all, before I ask my question?
Would you like to field this question, Mr. Library Trustee?
Brigham Street. I'm not 100% certain the extent of it, but yes,
Okay.
students do come from the grammar school into the library as a session. I'm not sure what grades are covered. Oh,
Go ahead.
So my question to that
Patricia,
point was.
oh, I'm so sorry. Patricia Lowe,
Go ahead.
117 Old Westminster Road, Storytime lead from the library. So we have the first grade classes, third grade, up to I do believe we have some of the fifth grade classes that come in. So Chris reaches out at the beginning of the school year to all of the grades to have them come over to the library. Obviously, kindergarten and pre-K, it's a little bit more difficult to have such littles to come over to the library. But she does make a time and schedule that the library is closed for the kids to come over to the library to check out books, return books, and ask any questions or do school projects research-wise, and use the library as a resource.
So I appreciate that, and I think it's a wonderful use of our library. I was just curious, given the fact that the school system is no longer supporting a library in the school, is there any thought that there should be some compensation in kind or budget-wise for the school use of our public library?
I like that thought, and I appreciate you bringing up that thought, and it will be explored.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
Sorry?
When I was a kid, we didn't have, when I went to grade school, that's where we went. We went over we marched out
Right.
and walked over and got books and went back. We had these little plastic bags with little girls with umbrellas on them. I remember them, blue bags, and they
Yeah.
had a drawstring, and that's
I-
where we got our books. We never had a school library when I was
Well,
a kid.
and even within my tenure here in Hubbardston, the students came over from the school before they had a school library, but just a thought, just a curiosity. I don't know what the mandate is for a school system to provide libraries within the school building. Presumably there isn't a mandate because they don't have one, but we're providing that for them.
Well,
Alicia Maka and Grimes Road. I would say
Thank you.
personally, as a mother of a child who is in the elementary school, I personally see it more as the school providing consistent opportunities for the children to utilize the library, not necessarily replacing the school library itself, but to become familiar patrons, because they do require them to have a library card to check out books from the library. They're not coming in and just taking books off the shelf. They are using it as a patron, but it is an organized time for them to
Yeah.
go over there.
Yeah, as I say, just asking the question, don't know what the parameters are or implications or anything. I was just curious. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Renee Lafayette, 60 New Templeton Road. Ed Reform 93, Education Reform 1993 eliminated the requirement as far as schools maintaining funding and maintaining a library. So that hopefully will answer that question.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions
Going
on
back. Yeah, that's going back, yeah.
Select Board? Any questions further on the capital improvement plan? I know you guys all voted on this a few months ago. Article 13 is to see if the town will vote to appropriate $15,000 from free cash to fund an overnight on-call stipend program for the Hubbardston Fire Department's ambulance service or take any action in relation thereto. So, we do not currently have overnight fire employees. The people that work here full-time and are not on-call firefighters work, I believe, 10-hour shifts. Chief, do you know?
I don't know off
It's
the
either-
top of my head, but that sounds about right.
It's either 10 or 12-hour shifts, and we have other communities doing mutual aid in the evening. To be completely and brutally honest, the exciting calls, a fire, an accident, will get on-call coverage. The mundane, life-saving calls are sometimes left to be handled by mutual aid by on-call firefighters. It was my and the chief's intent to incentivize the on-call or even full-time firefighters to say, for say $100 that I am on call, I will go to that call at the elderly woman's house. I will ensure that I am not doing anything and I am listening to my pager on X night. $15,000 is nowhere near what it would cost to do it full out, like a full overnight system. But this is what I hope can be a stipend program to see if the interest is even there to take the next step. So if we can get, it would, on the other end, if we take more of those calls, we'll be making more money in ambulance revenue. So I don't think would be a complete wash, but there is a return on investment here. Depending on what the questions are that come out of me saying what I just said, I do have the chief available for phone calls. They did have their training for the month this evening, and I figured he could go to that, and if we had any specific questions, we could ring him on the phone. So, any questions there? Peter?
Of course I have a question. So that is a $100 stipend just for that one day of call?
Yes.
Just the night they're on call? And they continue to get that stipend if they're called out on a call?
They would be paid. if they were called out.
Do they still get the stipend of $100 for carrying that pager, being on call? They still get that 100 if they go out on a call?
Yes,
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
yes.
Yeah, so it's a beeper pay, is
It's a-
what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Standby pay is what you
Yep.
call it, yeah. Because they can't go out of town or anything, they can.
Yeah, they can't go out of town, they
Yeah,
can't go.
so they're
out.
hung by their beeper.
They have
That's
to
why
be
they get a
available,
stipend.
they have to be
Yep.
available, yep.
That's all, it doesn't really say that, so, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Beautiful, thank you very much. Select board? Article 14 is to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $75,000 from free cash to the general stabilization account. This is our rainy day account. If the school does come in significantly higher than we are anticipating, this will likely be the first thing that goes, but in order to have a sustainable future financially, we do have to put money away for a rainy day, and it's raining. So by not putting a sufficient amount in our free cash, we're essentially succumbing to financial issues being just the way of life. So this is not necessarily as much as I would have liked to propose if it was a perfect financial situation, but it is also surely not nothing. Surely an amount that is something that we can work with in the future. It would require 2/3 of the vote to put money into this account. On the flip side of town meeting, 2/3 vote of town meeting, it would require 2/3 majority to get the money out, to spend it on whatever proposal is being proposed at the time. Any questions about general stabilization? Select board, people in attendance, or people attending virtually? Yes, sir.
Stephen Smith, West Common Pond Road. Jumping ahead, what's the difference between 14 and 15?
Article 14, general stabilization, can be spent on operating funds or essentially anything. Article 15 is capital stabilization, which is money we are putting aside to aid in the purchase of capital. So items that have a long-standing value of greater than $10,000.
So it's still a rainy day fund. but
It's a rainy day fund
split by capital,
for-
non-capital.
And if at any point we have enough money in our capital account, we can leverage the use of that money to not have to use up free cash as we do right now, cause we could essentially be making the purchases out of the capital stabilization account and then filling it in on the back end. That is a goal, but we're not there now.
Tom?
Well, what is what is the amount in free cash now? And what is the amount in free cash if all of the various articles passed?
1 second, sir, the computer had a
Buffering. Internet glitch.
Are we back online, those watching at home? Can someone just raise their hand if they can hear me? I know for a moment we glitched.
Spectrum.
Renee's there.
Yeah, he's frozen up. Oop, nope. Ah, Hubbardston Cable strikes again.
And I'm not moving. Alright, we're gonna,
Is Renee still on?
He's
Can you hear-
moving now,
he's moving.
so hopefully you
Can you hear us? Renee, can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Chairman, I hate to take this opportunity to excuse myself and to let you know that I'm departing, but yes, I could hear you loud and clear.
Alright, thank
Thank
you, have a
you.
good night.
Okay, thank you.
Current balances, General stabilization, $568,697. Capital stabilization, $185,658. That is 5.57% of the general operating budget and 1.31% of the operating budget respectively. Our goals are, as written in our financial policies, 5% and 1%. Got it?
Very good.
Alright.
I'll have to listen to the tape.
I have a question, Nate.
Yes, Peter.
So, capital, police cruisers are capital. How come you don't take money from capital stabilization to buy a cruiser?
Because then there would be no capital stabilization.
Well, that's what I mean.
In a perfect world, we
You
would.
just said there's 170,000 in there. You already got it spent, or is it already spent, or where's it go?
No.
So you're only putting, if you put in 87, took out 87, that's a wash. That's what.
Yes.
Okay.
At the end of the day, and we can have this conversation, it matters, but then again, it doesn't. It would be a more difficult vote to get the cruiser at that point, seeing that you need 2/3 majority to make the purchase. And the capital stabilization, in theory, once we have some more, we can use it to rotate. You'll see in a future vote, a future proposal, I do seek utilization of some money from capital stabilization for an emergency repair that came in higher than we anticipated. That is more where my mind
For capital.
were from capital stabilization, because we could use it at any point of the year if we had a special town meeting. If free cash had not been certified and we needed something in an emergency, we could not spend free cash. By having money in capital stabilization or general stabilization, we can utilize that money at any time as long as we hold a special or annual town meeting in accordance with the general bylaws.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Back up a few minutes, Steve Smith, West Comet Pond Road. You told us the amount in the, I'll call it the rainy day funds for capital and, general use essentially. But the question was, how much do we have in free cash? And how much
What
should
we try to
transfer?
maintain in free cash anyway.
We have in free cash the FY24 free cash certified total was $531,804. We, in the current proposal, would use $120,000 to stabilize the operating budget and maintain tax rate. It would be my hope to put $75,000 into reserve. At special town meeting, we spent $6,991 on a project at the school. The FY25 capital improvement plan was $271,000 and some change, and there is $15,000 in proposals in the warrant for projects utilizing free cash, which would leave our free cash at $38,813, and the Department of Revenue does recommend rolling some over year to year.
These are funds, obviously, for emergency, et cetera, and so on. And these are some of the things that Nate and all of us, the temptation is to, it's there, take it, but they also recommend, don't get used to or even begin to think that you should, in your budget, be depending on free cash to get you out, or this to get you out, because these are emergency funds, and they'll disappear very quickly. So consequently, we need to be able to put money into them as opposed to making it part of the way we're making, paying our bills. It would be a bad financial decision to do that, but very tempting. So that's what this is all about.
It's one-time revenue akin to using a tax return to pay your mortgage. So you just don't wanna use one-time revenue to pay expenditures that are going to continue to come back year after year, cause the money's not there to back it up.
I just wanna add one thing, please. And if you notice, since COVID, a lot of you small towns in this area have been dipping in the free cash every year now because of, since COVID. It didn't happen that often prior to, but with all that money that got injected, things got askew, and now here we are.
And don't, Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't those accounts where we have percentages we'd ideally like to keep, doesn't that make town's bond rating better, which gives us more opportunity to get low interest loans in the eyes of?
So once we have a bond, we will be eligible for a bond rating.
Right.
And our bond rating does take into consideration how much money is in stabilization accounts. But we currently don't have any bonds, so they don't have anything to rate us on. This is, I'm gonna take a shot here, Dean
Uh-huh.
Deneen.
Wrong.
Oh.
No. Jocelyn Deneen, 23 Cruise Road. Just a quick question, could you give us an update on the status of the reassessment of property values in town?
They're going to have to recertify in FY '25, which they have begun doing already. We just entered a 1-year agreement with Regional Resource Group because of that recertification year. The way Regional Resource Group does it is they charge a little bit extra each year so that you don't have to take a major financial hit when it comes time for your big recertification, which is this year. I have limited experience in assessing, so if we're going to go much further down this path, I will have to suggest that you talk to Robert Heckman, our assessor, and I can connect you both, but we are doing our recertification in FY '25, the upcoming year.
The reason I ask is I thought it was more current, based on the fact that there was some communication about the possibility of expecting someone to potentially visit your property for the reassessment.
Yep, that's them beginning the reassessment for FY '25.
Okay, so so where we are is the process has started, but it won't be completed until FY '25, is that correct?
It has to be complete by the end of FY '25. They have already started.
Okay, then, thank you for the clarification. The part that I think you probably can answer is there a potential outcome from that reassessment that would have an impact on our budgeting issues?
Not that is
Not really,
a popular
'cause
thing to say.
Pardon?
Not that would be a popular thing for me to say.
Yeah, no, 'cause
Well,
even-
no, because the rate would go down, correct?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, if
it
you're
wouldn't
assi-
necessarily mean we'd raise more revenue because it's capped at 2.5,
Yes.
so the rate would go down
Due to
if the assessment
proposition-
goes up.
Due to
Is
Proposition
that
2.5.
correct?
Yes, ma'am. Due to Proposition
Okay.
2.5, when your assessment goes up, the rate has to go down to maintain
yeah.
that level of under 2.5% over the previous
Right.
year.
Okay, so to that extent, it does not have an impact on the budget because we still have the same pool of money to deal with.
Yeah, it'll go up just about as much as it does every year, that 2.5%. But
Yeah.
when things such as the school assessments are going up at 10% annually, and we're capped at 2%, and we want to be capped at 2% because we do not want to burden the taxpayers, it begs the question of why isn't the school capped at anything?
Understood, yeah.
It's a difficult balancing act because we do, time and time again, as I say, support schools. And we want to support education, but we also need police officers, firefighters, roads and services.
Yeah, understood. No, thank you for that. I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Now, one other thing, Nate, now, isn't the school's budget based on our, real estate value in town?
Our assessment,
Assessment, that's what they base their budget off of.
More or less.
yeah, along with how many students are
Right,
enrolled.
so I mean, there's
Yeah.
still, there's more than one factor, but real estate is one part of the
Real
number.
estate is, along with income
Yeah.
and a number of other factors.
Average income in town?
Yep. That's more or less what is hurting Hubbardston when it comes to the
School.
formula and evaluation, that the income here is a little higher than that of the other communities.
It's old money,
Yeah.
that's all it is.
Old money, it's ag money, it's new people moving in.
Yeah.
It's not all old money, trust me.
No, I know,
Right.
can't count it if it's under your pillow.
I put mine on my mattress, what are you talking about?
Any further questions?
My quarters, you know.
Alright, Article, we kind of hit Article 15 by talking about stabilization funds in general. Article 15 is putting money into the other stabilization account. Article 16 is a proposal to take money out of said other stabilization account. So, about a year and a half ago, the school system reached out and noted that one of the two boilers at the school system was going to fail within X amount of time. It's 30 years old and we need a new boiler over there. It has not failed yet, but it is leaking progressively more year after year. I was told that the purchase was going to be $50,000 and provided a quote from the school's facilities maintenance team that was $50,000. In my incredible rookie town administrator way a year ago, I took that $50,000 quote to the bank. Went to town meeting, asked for $50,000. The people of this wonderful town funded the $50,000. The prevailing wage quote came in at $115,000. So, yeah, so here we are asking for $65,000. I'm also seeking other avenues to get this money. It will likely be a attempted earmark in the state budget, but who knows if there will even be earmarks this year with all of the revenue and other situations going on at the state level. So I felt it was important that we also included it here. It will be a great pleasure to be able to completely delete that, should it pop up somewhere else. But for now, I am proposing that we seek $65,000 from capital stabilization for the remainder of the boiler project at the Hubbardston Center School.
That's a lot of money.
Any questions? All right. Article 17 is about as mundane as articles get. So the select board can enter a contract up to 3 years. In order to enter a contract longer than 3 years, we have to go to town meeting. The town offices would like a mail machine. It is best practice. It is going to save us money. It is going to create an efficiency. Right now, we are utilizing senior work-off and staff to seal, stamp, bring them across the street. We'll have an almost instantaneous return on investment, but it's a 5-year contract. So we will have to bring it up at town meeting, which is what Article 17 proposes.
So that's gonna affect the senior work-off staff that depend on that, right?
We will find new projects
All right,
for
that's
the
all I
senior
needed to hear.
work-offs to do.
You gotta keep the seniors happy.
That question came up immediately.
Did it? Well, I just brought it up.
Right.
No, trust me, there's other projects.
There are staff members keeping an eye on
Excellent.
the senior work off.
Yeah, so, yeah, they will, they.
Because you couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
So,
That came up immediately.
I might be looking for one of them jobs. So,
We get some good stuff, see you walking in here. when I come
Articles
in.
18, 19, 20, and that's it, are CPA articles. The CPA is the Community Preservation Act, and they will be holding their own public hearing for these as well. It sets their funding, it pays debt for things such as the new playground that was built 5-ish years ago.
Oh.
3.
Less than that,
Yeah.
3 years
Yeah.
ago, but it does all of that. The CPA is 1% on top of your taxes. It is tax money, but it funds things like open space, recreation, historical properties. It has done a number of wonderful projects here in town.
Yeah, cause when we were having the ribbon cut in, we all had masks on, so that was after COVID. Eat your ice cream, but take your mask.
Yeah. Article 21. That same Community Preservation Committee has a spot in the general bylaws that notes that a member of the committee must come from the Housing Authority. Seeing as Hubbardston does not have an active housing authority, and there is already a representative of the planning board which serves as the housing authority on the Community Preservation Committee, what this article proposes is to change the general bylaws to allow the select board to appoint someone to the Community Preservation Committee with a background in housing. Think assessment, banking, realtor, could be any number of experiences, but instead of being directly from the housing authority, they would just be a person appointed by the select board with housing experience. Any questions?
So it's gonna be a member at large with housing
Yeah.
in back or something?
Alice is interested.
Oh, okay, that solves that problem then,
Yeah.
there you go.
It will be publicly opened. We do have someone with housing experience that is interested in it, but it will be posted for people to apply for. And Articles 22 and 23 are going to be brought up on Thursday night at the planning board meeting. If Tricia wants to give a quick rundown of the two articles, she can do so. If not, we will have to suspensefully wait until Thursday evening to review those.
I'm very happy to give a quick rundown. So the first one up is the best bylaw that was on the town meeting. When it got to the AG's office, it was blue penciled and some corrections had to be made. So the corrections have been made, and we've been calling it the best two. Very thought out. Creative name there. That will go again before town meeting now that the corrections have been made per the AG's office.
What is it about?
It was versus one type of storage, they said, nope, sorry, all types of storage are now allowed. Certain voltage, I'm not 100% sure on the verbiage, but the updated version is on the planning board website, so you can take a look, and it's also right outside my office, so you can come take a look at a hard copy if that's easier.
So
Battery storage.
Battery
Solar.
storage, yes,
So
for the
the-
battery storage, the solar battery storage.
So the battery energy storage solution zoning bylaw amendment that the town passed, I believe, in 2021, ended up getting rejected by the Office of the Attorney General due to it being too restricting. The bylaw, the Massachusetts general law then changed to allow battery energy storage systems in any zoning spot in the entirety of the town. What best battery energy storage systems proposal two suggests is to put allowable battery energy storage systems in certain zoning districts that more adequately comply with what the Attorney General's office does require, but does not allow them just willy-nilly anywhere.
Right.
It is a safety precaution of sorts by members of the planning board that do consider this a passion project of sorts. It is kind of, it's long-range planning, but I get it. So, but this will be discussed at a meeting on Thursday night. The other zoning bylaw amendment is a amendment to the acceptable uses.
It's not an amendment, it's a whole bylaw by
It's a
itself.
whole bylaw,
It's not an amendment,
I thought we ended up changing it from a.
but it's not an amendment, it's a bylaw.
Okay.
It's an agricultural accessory use bylaw.
Rural
Rural
enterprise. Rural enterprise.
It's Article 25.
Yes, there you go.
Article 25 will allow anyone who in town who has a farm that meets the Massachusetts law for farm to have an accessory use not only on their farm. So this will allow certain things, there's a whole list of them in the agricultural bylaw that they'll be allowed to do on top of having their farm. So they can have a brewery, they can have a cut your own Christmas tree farm, things like that. They'll also be able to, with special permits, do special events on their farm, and those special permits, it's listed there that they will go then before the planning board and make sure that all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed if that is something that they would like to do. Again, this bylaw is on the website and in the town clerk's office and in my office, but it kind of just it allows our farmers in town to have other avenues of revenue for them, and the whole basis of this was from the EDC to make sure that people who had farms were keeping their farms and getting them a second chance of revenue so that they could keep the land all together instead of eventually sectioning it off and selling it off.
So it's other avenues of revenue with a cap on it. It is capped though.
No.
Yes, it is. You can only make a certain amount of money from this accessory use.
No, cause it's not accessory, it's a rural enterprise.
Well, the rural, yeah, but I thought I read that you can only make a certain percentage of money.
None, no, because it's,
Really?
yeah,
Right.
because if you're the reason why that happened this way is because if you're a hay farmer, you're not gonna make any money off hay.
Well, what the hell was I reading?
Maybe one of the old original ones, where that was one of the when we're having our subcommittee meetings,
So,
when we had that
right
rural.
here it says the farmer must generate no more than 25% of the gross farm income.
What are you reading?
Oh, on the agritourism.
On the actual bylaw?
Yeah.
There's no dollar amounts, where are you getting, the one that we just had in our, it's in our,
Right,
Is it right
25,
up here?
25B.
okay, hold on.
You start talking percentages. That's what I mean, it's capped on what you can bring in from the accessory use, so. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, I don't know.
These are 25B.
There's no B. 25.3?
25B, bravo, boy.
No, I think you're
No.
reading an old version.
I don't think so. I'm on our article, I'm on the one that's in process.
Where-
On the, what we're doing all night.
Agenda?
It's on the draft warrant.
I'm on the
Oh, the
draft.
draft
Oh,
warrant,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, it's right, I'm reading it
Oh,
right
it's
from
way
the
in the
draft.
end, okay. Are you on the right?
If you go down to A, then, so, you have the article, Article 25, then it goes 25-1, 25-2, 3,
Yeah, 25-3.
then it goes to
25-3.
B,
B, agritourism, a range of
and
uses.
then you go down to A
B.
and read, please. That's where I'm getting it from. I just wanna know if I'm correct, or I'm out of left
I can see
field.
what you're reading. That's okay. You're in the definitions?
Can you see that?
I'm not sure.
Right here?
What page number are you on? We're looking at page 6.
And the beginning of page 7.
Yeah. What page are you on?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
I didn't
reading,
catch that.
I think I'm on 7.
It's on page 7 of 21,
Yeah, it was right where you were.
where it says farm.
Yeah.
Wait, stop clicking.
Living history, farm use, then it says farm is D. And then A under D. And then B under D. And then C under D.
These are definitions.
These are definitions.
Farm
Yep.
must generate no more than 25% of the gross farm income. Of remaining income, at least 65% must be the sale of product grown.
Yeah, those are definitions by the state of what a farm is.
Yeah.
Okay. So the accessory use is still capped though. How much you can make from an accessory use.
No, that's the definition of what a farm is.
Yeah.
So there's no.
So that's just talking about what is a farm. So those percentages are identifying something to be a farm. Not
So those
identifying.
are farm identifiers.
Right.
Yeah, cause this whole section is definitions.
Right, well, I
You
know.
need to meet these requirements to be able to
Call yourself a farm.
call
Yeah,
yourself a farm, correct?
Can we move on
There's,
from-
Yep.
Yeah, I think we need to move on from this, okay? This particular item as far as.
Yeah, I'll come on Thursday.
Because the planning board can
Yeah.
certainly
okay.
Yeah.
clarify it.
I'm gonna have to read it again, so.
Go ahead, Nate.
Sorry. I'm not trying to stir up an argument right now. Let's wait till Thursday
No,
to stir up
I'm
an
not trying to
argument.
have an argument, I'm just.
Yeah, no, I know.
Just know, I know I read something.
Yeah, they took out the, that's okay, they're all done with us anyway.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Money. Alright. General government, the way we're going to do this is we are going to review the budget section by section. If anyone would like to pause to have a question answered or a statement made, please raise your hand at that time.
What happens tonight after you go to the budget?
What happens tonight after we go through the budget? After this, at the May 6th Select Board meeting, there will be an opportunity for the Select Board to ask questions. I would hope
Tonight. I'm trying to decide whether to leave or not.
nothing. So,
There's no formal action taken tonight on
Okay.
this. There's no,
But you're gonna,
okay,
I don't know what the plan is for me.
she's been waiting.
I'm just here.
thank you.
I had asked her to stay for this part anyway.
Thank you, me too.
thank you so much.
Everybody's had enough with us. They're like, this is too long.
Here's the big bucks.
I know.
Not
Remember
the
to get
meeting
in-
to be asking for volunteers to join.
I didn't create.
Sit here for 4 hours and listen to this. Okay, go ahead. Sorry,
Alright,
moving on.
thank you, Lois.
Understand?
Yeah.
And I can't
You
read.
may not want me to stay.
Yeah, I know.
You do have a printout of the
She has
Q3
printout.
report.
I didn't print all 27 pages.
Alright, moderator, $100. Select board. Town administrator. Finance committee. Accountant. Assessor. Please note that I may have to revise this due to the fact that we did not keep the town clerk, assessor clerk joined. So we are onboarding and speaking with a person that we had offered that job. They are starting on May 1st. I have to do the calculations to the impact on the budget once we finalize a pay.
So there is somebody in.
Yep.
So there's gonna be another line here, is that what you're saying, on this?
No, we're gonna add numbers back to the line that we took numbers out
Oh,
of.
okay, thank you.
So it's, cause it's already there, and we're gonna
Right.
keep it for another couple of years.
Yep. Thank you.
Treasurer collector,
Hold,
hold. Yes, sir.
2025 certification is zeroed out. 20 fiscal year 25 admin certification.
Because this is going to be a surprise at a cinch later, Mary passed her test and Bobby doesn't wanna take it. So we will not need to send anyone to be certified in fiscal year 2025.
Fabulous.
Not that she does not wanna take it, it was offered and she chose not to take it.
That's an annual thing though, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Any further treasurer collector questions? Information technology. Town clerk. Please note that, and I spoke with Melody about this, we may need to either in the coming weeks or at special town meeting, rearrange some of this based on elections that are coming and shortfalls in previous budgets. Yeah. Building maintenance. Police. Fire. Land use. Emergency management. Animal control. Tree warden. This is another one where I may need to make some changes. After that winter storm, we have some work that we're doing right now, and I do feel uncomfortable working under the premise, hey, hopefully the FinCom will approve this. And that is currently what we are doing for a tree on High Street. So it is my hope that after talking with the tree warden, that we can maybe come up with a number that will allow us to not have to go through this type of issue in the future. I'm uncertain as to why the previous interim town administrator cut the tree budget, but that is in the past, and
How much does it cost to cut down a tree?
A lot.
Thousands, thousands of dollars.
and $1,900 probably didn't get us far enough
Yeah,
to
no.
where.
Can I
That's
ask
like-
a question? I
Yes,
noticed,
of course.
and maybe this isn't relative to this, but National Grid's going around, cause they came to our house already asking if it's okay to cut trees down, do you wanna keep? Can we work with them in conjunction with some of this?
No.
Or is this off base? I don't know.
If it's not
If it's not
near
a town
the,
tree.
well, if it's not hurting the power lines, they
Yeah.
don't. You know what I mean? If it's not at risk of the power lines, it's not their
They're
problem.
just
that
putting in poles and,
Basically, they're just protecting the easement. So the easement that the grid, National Grid has, sets back a certain amount of feet. And they're like they are on New Westminster Road, they're clearing out all the trees and for all the placement of the new poles.
I know, but but they're gonna be going up Williamsville Road.
Yeah.
Cause they come to me and asked.
They'll
about
probably
it.
do the same thing. Anything that's within that easement, they will get rid of. That's a problem for their power lines.
So not National Grid particularly,
No,
and
it's-
not a actual statement, but there are vendors out there that maybe would work with you, since they're already there. I would maybe talk to one of the vendors that is not driving a National Grid truck.
No, it's not for me, I'm wondering for the town, I mean, you've got a tree, like I said, I don't know if this is appropriate question for this. But I mean, if you got a tree that needs to come down and it's close to the wires, I wondered if you could make an argument rather than hiring an outside vendor.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
that's what we do, the tree warden reaches out to them all the time.
Yeah, alright.
National
That's what I
Grid,
wasn't sure.
National
Yeah,
Grid has
if-
been wonderful.
If
I
it's
thought,
in the easement zone.
Right, okay.
Or if it's even close, they're pretty good about it.
I thought we were skirting around if vendors would take down your personal
No,
trees.
no, not at all, no.
Yes, National Grid is wonderful when working with the municipality.
Hold,
Trees?
158. What is outside tree, what is the definitions of outside tree services, and why is it seldomly funded except for fiscal year 25 at $2,500?
And I cut it. I requested money that I cut from myself. So outside tree services is just that, we have a tree issue like we do on High Street right now. During the winter storm, a tree had fallen down. It is on the constituents' land and it is the town tree, therefore it is the town's responsibility to take care of our own mess. Outside tree services allow us the opportunity to hire a outside vendor to come in and deal with it. Because we are limited at our DPW, we are limited in capacity to cut down trees. But in FY '22, as part of the budget reallocations to get, remember when you had the 3 town meetings in a row? One where the school budget was approved and then the next one to fund it? That's when the outside tree services was cut. It was $1,900, but I was not there at the time.
So while we're on this subject, I think I hear you saying for this particular High Street example, the town is going to foot the bill for picking up that tree and taking it away.
Yes, because it is our tree.
Okay, thank you.
Your tree as in the easement of the street?
It's a town tree. It's so much a town tree that it had a marker on
Yeah,
it
for
from
5 years.
from the former
Really?
tree warden that
Oh my
said,
God.
we are going to cut down this tree.
Oh, wow.
Like,
From the
so
former tree warden.
there wasn't really a
So
lot
lack of maintenance, but lack of money, really.
Okay, thank you.
dispatch. School.
Oh, very good. Is it a 12% increase that the schools are allowed to have
There is
per the state?
there is no state cap on the school's increase.
So Quabbin can request
30%.
anything they want, it's up to us to decide what. But is there a minimum, I thought there was a minimum that the state says that they get for a special ed type thing or
Because
whatever.
minimum net school spending is a formula, but it's and it's much lower than where we're at. I can't speak to exactly what net school spending is without looking at some emails, and that would keep us here for some time.
Yeah.
But
But to your point about special ed, that's a state mandate,
Well, that's what I
so
thought.
I mean, it's nothing that's debatable. Was it last year or the year before, they had an enormous increase in the mandate for special ed, and towns like it's not debatable. You had to figure, well, now we gotta come up with that too.
So it has nothing to do with the number of kids that are in sped, it's just a generalized.
It comes from Boston. And it's not debatable.
Well, that's not a democracy,
right.
right?
It's the law in the
Snow and
state
ice.
though.
And it would be both Monty Tech and Quabbin, correct?
Snow and ice. Street lights.
Where are we?
Cemetery.
We're down here on page 5.
Okay.
Senior center. Veteran services. Library. Recreation. Agricultural commission. Historical commission. short-term debt, long-term debt, Worcester Regional Retirement, unemployment, health insurance, Medicare, liability insurance, offsets and overlays. Without going too crazy, the budget as a whole. Alright.
Okay.
Thank you all for attending this review and public hearing. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Anytime between now and June 4th, please feel free to reach out to myself, department heads, Chief Kuchar, members of the select board, members of the finance committee, anyone. We are here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Here's your meeting.
Move it on.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So, okay, next item we'll take up, and I'll go through it, is the consent agenda. First of all, the select board meeting on March 4th. What we'd say this, Heather was Zoom,
Virtual.
so we were all present. We have appointments, Melody Green, town clerk, department town clerk, expires 6/30/2024. Kayla Fontaine, traffic control, police, expires 6/30/2024. William Kamataris, traffic control, police, expires 6/30/2024. Patricia Lowe, alternate member, MRPC, expires 6/30/2025. Excuse me. We also have wage authorization, for Melody Green, town clerk department, $31.12, and as a new hire, and we're gonna invite her to
Yes.
come up, Melody.
Well, she sat through that.
Patiently waiting, so,
You want
On
to
those
sit here?
hard benches
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Lisa's chair's a little better, it's not great.
I normally stand all day,
Can
so.
you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and anybody on the board, if you have any questions for her, feel free to. Alright.
Alright, well, I'm Melody Green, thank you for potentially hiring me. I grew up in Hubbardston, and I have not been a town clerk before, but I've worked the last 7 years as a director of a preschool, so I have some administrative, experience. And I'm just really excited to be back in Hubbardston. I lived here for 30 of the 37 years I've been alive. I live in North Brookfield now, so I'm excited to work again in Hubbardston. Well, I do work in Hubbardston at a preschool, but
We're also very excited to have you too, and we
Thank you.
appreciate that. Anyone have any questions or comments they'd like to make?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of smart people over there at the homestead, right? So
Yeah.
you'll be in good hands
yes, thank you.
when you're visiting, right? You don't live in North Brookfield.
Right, I don't, yeah.
Just gets to go home.
I still, right, it's funny, everyone still in my family still lives here except
Yeah.
for one of my sisters.
Cool,
So,
glad to have you.
thank you, I'm excited.
Any comments or questions on
Joyce
the part of
2.0, that's what I said, that's what we needed.
No, it is my hope that we treat Melody as Melody.
Oh, I
Because
know.
This is her,
I know.
this is her
You're not
job
Joyce.
that she earned by interviewing very, very well and having experience, so I look forward to having her, and that is all.
Thank you,
And we wish you good luck
thank you.
at the job, and
Can we
we
get
help
her
you
to
in any
sign
way
a
with it.
long-term contract? No?
Yeah, I know.
Yes, well, I have approximately 25 years left to my working
Oh, there
career,
you go.
and I would like to spend it here with you, if you don't
Oh.
mind.
That'd be fabulous.
Wow.
I remind you, you're being recorded.
Don't sign it again.
Then don't sign it.
But thank you so much, and we wish you luck.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any holds on
Okay.
the consent agenda, or anything?
You don't even
Could I
really
have a
to
motion
stay
to
if you
approve the
don't.
consent agenda as presented,
There's nothing
including
crazy.
appointments
Go home.
and wage authorizations?
So moved.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, any discussion, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion's carried.
Congratulations.
See you on Monday.
Yeah. So everyone's gonna be turning in their paperwork.
I
They'll
know.
get all their signatures this week.
Okay, moving to new business. Regional waste and recycling opportunity involvement. Nate, if you would.
I am requesting the approval to proceed with the request for proposal process for a town-wide curbside trash and recycling collection program in collaboration with the towns of Princeton and Rutland. This is part of an initiative to provide residents with a cost-effective and efficient solution for waste management. You were all at the meeting, the four of you were at the meeting the other week where we discussed this. At this time, this would not commit us to anything. I would like the approval to move forward in seeing what options are out there in an effort to lowering residential trash rates. The Board of Health has already approved moving forward.
Okay, Peter.
So I just have one question, of course, I always have a question. So you're seeking all avenues, you're gonna do the bag thing, you're gonna do the truck thing?
No, just the trash.
Trash pickup?
Yeah.
With, like we have now, 2 containers?
Yeah.
Okay,
It would
okay,
be-
so you're not going with a bag thing?
No, not the bag thing. The pay-as-you-throw it did not survey well.
Okay.
So
Yep.
what we would be looking for right now in the RFP, at least as I understand it, if it was not as I understand it, I would say something at that time, is trash pickup, 3 towns, recycling, trash. Do you want to combine all of these 3 towns, vendor? If so, tell us how much you would charge for that per person,
One other.
per household.
May I follow up on that, please?
Yes, sir.
So, the way I think, I mean, I'm in a 2-person household, and my neighbor could be a 7-person household. We've been through this before. I only make 2 bags of trash a week, they might make 10 bags of trash a week, but I'm paying the same thing they're paying. So, is there gonna be anything in that RFP about, it should be based on family size in that home, that's the amount of trash you're gonna generate.
May I make a point on that too?
Sure.
Being on Facebook, you get a lot of comments. Somebody can be paying $200 and somebody else will be paying $100. I
I'm
mean,
paying 180,
Well,
so.
had to call the trash company, and every time I called, they've reduced it. I just don't think it's right for them to have, I mean, good for me, but,
Yeah, no,
you
yeah.
know, it's not fair that there's a whole gambit of prices
Yeah.
being put out there for.
So they gouge the people that don't call, and the people that call, they get a reduced rate, that's what it is.
And if you have a bigger, happen to have one of the bigger containers, so,
Yeah, me too.
and I'm not filling it,
No, me
cause
neither.
now they're giving smaller containers out.
But we're being charged for the full container.
No, I'm being charged the same as everybody else because
Right,
I've been
right.
grandfathered into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not, like him, I'm not using the full container.
Right.
I'll add to your story and say that same thing just happened to me. This conversation we had at the last meeting about this whole situation enlightened me to the fact that I was paying a lot of money.
So you called?
So I am in the process of calling and asking for a reduction, or I'm gonna look for a new provider.
Excellent. Maybe I'll do the same thing.
What I would suggest is, partner with your neighbors. I mean, everybody doesn't need a bucket at the end of their driveway to get picked up and recycled. If you only have 2 bags and you know your neighbors and you like them,
Just get a
Herein lies the
3-yard
strike
container.
a side deal and,
Yeah,
work
I have a couple
with
family
something like
members
that.
that do that with my dumpster. They're like, yo, just come put it in my dumpster. We're
Yeah.
not gonna, why should, my stepfather, he has 1 bag of trash. Seriously, just come throw it in my dumpster. Don't even.
Yeah.
But I digress, at any rate.
No, that's awesome. I'm gonna do the same thing.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you for that.
Okay, do we have a motion then to approve the request from the town administrator to proceed with the RFP process for a townwide curbside trash and recycling collection program in collaboration with Princeton and Rutland?
So moved.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, is there any discussion or any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes, opposed, motion carries.
We'll keep you guys updated on this as it moves forward.
Okay, next item, 1-day liquor license, Moon Hill Brewing for the Hubbardston Fair. If there's, are there any discussion or questions on this? If not, all we need to do is move to approve the one-day license from Moon Hill Brewing for the Hubbardston Fair.
What is the, requirements, are there any specific requirements for the serving and or consumption area?
We usually, the way we've always done it is they set up a booth and we have signs posted that people can't leave the area. Police has always signed that off. We have signs that you can't leave the area with the alcohol. And they have a liability of $1 million policy to the town on file with this.
You're thinking in terms of the structure that the folks.
Yeah, it's usually right in front of that. I think right where the structure, the structures that's facing, what's that, west?
They're put right in the middle in the center, so that way they can be very visible and everything can be, they're put right in, almost in front of the bandstand.
Oh, that's where they are now?
Yeah, yeah, we moved them
Oh,
up
okay.
even closer to
Awesome.
more of the middle, so that way they're much more visible.
Awesome.
Any concerns, chief?
No, the way we've been doing it, I think has worked very well, so I don't see a reason to change it unless somebody has a complaint.
Yeah. It's a reputable local company.
Yeah.
Moon Hill is the Gardner Ale House, for those who may not be up to date
Oh,
on.
yeah? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Good,
That's the name of their beer arm, Moon Hill Brewing.
Excellent.
Any further comments or questions?
Nope.
Okay, then could I have a motion to approve the one-day liquor license request from Moon Hill Brewing for the Hubbardston Fair?
Yeah, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes, opposed? Motion carried.
I abstained because I
Oh,
can't vote on it.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
One abstention. Okay.
That's why she didn't make the motion.
No kidding, that's why I gotta I can answer the questions, but I gotta keep my nose out of it. You guys should.
Item C, we'll ask the chief to come up on this one.
3 hours for that?
Application authorization request for body worn camera program. Go ahead, chief.
Okay, so, I know this is, can be a little bit of a hot button issue, body cameras, but with the new police reform bill, that was passed a couple of years ago, more oversight on law enforcement. Body cameras are not mandated by the state yet, but they will be. I don't know if that'll happen next year or the year after, I don't see a timetable on it, but I see these funds available where we can get a body worn camera program going, we can acquire the cameras, and there are storage options. One storage option is the cloud, but it's not covered by this grant. And another one would be an on-site server, which I would have to talk to the company about and see what exactly that would entail. But being able to get these funds, apply for them, and use them to start this program and get the cameras, I think would be beneficial to us, so that if in a year or 2 years they say you need body worn cameras and there's no grant available, then we're stuck paying the $15,000-$20,000 that it's gonna cost to get this running, so.
In our server that is being installed right now likely does not have the security to allow us to keep that type of footage on it.
It would not, and there would probably be some other costs that would be associated with, software to redact the videos. You need to be able to redact faces, mobile data terminals that people can't see on a regular basis, things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I think this chunk of money that we would be able to probably get with this grant, I mean, would definitely, it's not something we can absorb in our budget, and that's something I think the town should be paying for.
No, I think you're being very proactive about it,
Is it a state grant or a federal?
It's actually a state grant, so just but I look back at it, it is a state.
we have nothing to lose by applying for the grant, and as I say, I believe you're being proactive. I totally support that.
So, I have one question, chief. I told you I was gonna ask you a question, I'm gonna. So, the grant, you think it would cover the cost of having our own storage on site?
I believe so,
The
yes.
equipment?
That is an option written into that
Okay.
language of the grant, so
So we just
I
need to
can't
figure
see
out
why we wouldn't be able to.
What the cloud would cost versus that, right? That's
Right.
what we're looking at?
I wanna say the cloud is a couple grand, but don't quote me on that, cause I don't know.
You mean
for
per
a fact.
year?
Per
But that's
year
cheap
cost.
money though.
It is fairly cheap
Compared to
money.
maintaining a server
It is
and
fairly
having
cheap
somebody
money.
fix your server when it breaks down.
Right.
Right? So, okay, thank you.
So I'll look at the options on that as well.
Alright, and just update us. That's all you-
Does the federal government have grants? Is there, I mean, can you double dip is what I'm asking, if the federal government, it
So
isn't-
there isn't one right now. So these funds would have to be used before the end of the fiscal year, next year, not now. But it's, you know, federal government may release a grant in September, and that could be available, but we don't know. You don't know until sometimes they just do it, so.
Anything else from anyone? Alright, could we have a motion to approve the to authorize Chief Ryan Kuchar to apply for the FY 25 law enforcement body worn camera grant?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, any discussion, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
The rest of them are fine, it's just that.
Okay. Alright,
There is
under
something in the
old
sign
business,
for that.
Nate, Cape Comet Pond swimming update,
So, I wrote.
open swimming, excuse me.
I wrote an email to DCR. You being the select board are all CC'd on it.
Yes.
Asking a variety of questions that would allow us to then turn around and answer Mr. Blanchard's questions. We have not received the response to that. In addition to that, Peter and I went to the Ware River Watershed meeting on Thursday evening. It was riveting, but the fact is right there that it is too late to be giving public opinion. I let it be known at least 3 times that the select board nor myself were making a public opinion or having a public stance, and we were just asking questions because at the request of Mr. Blanchard, a resident did bring the email into public record at the meeting, so I felt it was necessary to state that this was just a fact-finding mission and was not a opinion or any sort of statement from myself or the select board. That was accepted by both DCR and the members of the Ware Watershed Committee. The meeting overall was nice. There were some nice people, good questions. There are a couple of similar issues to that of the open swimming, one being a road that connects a pond in Rutland to the Rutland prison camps, and they're proposing closing the road, but they would like to keep the road open for ADA compliance and horse riding. So there are a couple of questions. DCR, I can't go as far as saying did not care, but their responses were limited.
They think they own the land. Well, they technically they do, but the state still owns the land. DCR controls it. They don't want anybody doing anything on the land. That's all it is.
But it was stated several times that they opened up to public opinion for several years, and but they did note that they would answer the questions to the best of their ability, both at that meeting and in an email to us. The gentleman that answered us did note that he could answer what he could answer, and he would have to forward some to legal, which is fine. Some of them were legal questions involving liability, so let's see what we can get. Mr. Chair, with that, I'm asking that this item be tabled for the time being, and if and when we receive information, I will forward it to you, and if at that time it is found that it would be relevant to bring it back up, I would hope that either myself or a select board member would do so.
So you're looking for a motion to
To table
table
the item.
indefinitely?
Yep.
Okay. Could I have a
So
motion to table the Comet Pond open swimming issue to tabling it indefinitely?
So moved.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
And second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, opposed,
Opposed.
abstain, motion carried 3-1.
Is there an action you would like to take on the item, Chris?
Nope.
No?
Just wanna see the, you already said you disseminate the
Yep.
answers to the questions when they come
Absolutely.
here.
Mhm.
That's all.
All right, moving on then, your TA report.
I've talked a lot, although it is less than last year, so. Town elections the papers are due by April 23rd. The Q3 financial report has been released. We are on track in all avenues, and I look forward to the last quarter of the year. I'm going to be reading these quickly. There is a full-blown report that'll be put online tomorrow if you are interested in hearing more about what I have to say, what I can't imagine you possibly could be. Community awards and scholarships, Country Hen Scholarship for students, deadline April 22nd. The New Citizens of the Year Award, nominations are due April 25th. The Gardner News did a nice article about it on the front page the other day. You can read that. I posted it on the Town of Hubbardston Facebook as well. Last week, the town audit was completed. I am anticipating that we will hear back from them with the management letter in about 2 to 3 weeks. Everything seemed to go fine. We have similar small issues that we have every year in that management letter, and we will discuss it once the letter comes in. Thank you to Mary and Kelly for assisting with that. We had to work with them quite a bit, and it was seamless.
You need a bigger binder, sir, just saying.
I am
Yeah.
working with KP Law to hopefully bring forward the marijuana hosts community agreements during the next meeting or two. I noticed that she responded to a couple of my emails during this meeting, so I hope to bring that up soon. CM Geeks is working to install a new secure server over in the police department. They are transitioning our computers onto it over the weekends, kind of in groups. This next upcoming weekend will be the treasurer collector, the town clerk, and mine. Transferring on, the police department's already on it.
Is it gonna be faster working and stuff? Is that the purpose of the new server?
No, the server will create a more secure environment for our data.
Oh, so it's safeguarding.
Yes, it's safeguarding our data and backup precautions.
Okay, thank you.
I am working to identify ADA projects to apply for a grant. If anyone can think of anything, there are a couple of projects being tossed around right now, but we have a little bit to work on that. I submitted the expression of interest sheets to the Community One Stop program. I emailed you all the list of them, but that is all developmental grants that I've been working on with the planning board and Patricia. We are going to be sending out a request for a proposal for the Library Foundation, hopefully this week. DPW union contract negotiations kick off on Thursday. They were supposed to kick off 2 weeks ago, but it snowed.
You having a cookout?
They might have a cookout.
Excellent.
Mike. There is a lot of trash coming out of it. It doesn't look like trash, but it is trash because it's been near mold coming out of the school crawl space. That's the absolute mess that you will notice in the parking lot. It is to safeguard the issues that we have been talking about and the mold remediation project that will eventually have to occur. As of this moment, the percentages are low enough where we don't have to take immediate action, cause I had even, as I noted in an email to you, asked them if we should swap that project with the boiler, and they said definitely not. So we will continue to apply for Green Communities grants to work on that in the coming years.
Do you mean library or school?
School,
School over here?
yes.
Did you see all the chairs and stuff?
See all the crap
up
out
there?
there when you walk
There's a
in?
mold issue in the
Under-
center school?
Yeah.
What, the old libraries by the stage, underneath.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no foundation, it's dirt.
And this stuff, how long has this crap been under there? For years? Like 30
No,
years?
they clean it, some of it, they clean it out and then they stuff more
Why,
back in
they
there.
shouldn't stuff in there
I'm
anymore.
well aware,
Who's stuffing it in there?
I, just
People?
general,
Just
yeah.
say people.
People,
People.
humans,
It's not the chipmunks and the squirrels.
nope.
If you check in your email, I can even resend it to you. There was a whole report done on this about a month ago, and then myself and Kathy Hansgate joined the school, Kevin from facilities and the superintendent, and we all went into the dungeon. The proposal is to cover
Called it the
to cover all of the kind of roof wood that goes up into the library, because this was originally noted by a teacher with a mold tolerance. The numbers are of mold molecules in the air are currently very low. You would have to be really susceptible to mold, which this person was, to be able to notice it. The average person would be able to go in there, do as they may, and leave doing fine. So it's not an immediate actionable item or a closure, but it is something that we have to start taking steps towards, and this is the first step.
Well, I mean, they say it's not immediate, but mold doesn't get better on its own,
Does
so
not get better.
it progressively gets worse, so it is kind of immediate, right? But they say it's not immediate.
Not immediate, I'm sure if you ask.
I'm sure they're going off the color of the mold, and I don't know what color it is, what it is. I
They're
just think,
probably going off state tolerance levels or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, obviously, from what you said, we're not there
but
yet.
still, I mean.
Right, it's not gonna get better with age, it's only gonna get worse.
Right.
But by taking out this stuff and the filters that are under the HVAC system, hopefully we can take out some of the contributing molds. Then there will have to be cleaning projects and coverage projects, but all of that costs money, and anything that costs over $5,000 is,
Yeah, that needs to be updated, which, by the way.
we all did agree on the last time they were here, and I hope to have that opportunity when the document is opened.
Regardless, it will still come back to us
Yep.
paying for it.
It always
so-
does, it doesn't matter, we pay for it anyways, whether it's
Yeah.
capital or emergency.
Exactly, that's right.
We are working on website updates. If anyone sees any part of the website that is not updated, please feel free to shoot me an email. I want to make sure that towards the end of the year, when we update to what is called Drupal 10, that we have currently Drupal 3. So we're going
jeez.
up
Drupal?
we're going up 7 Drupals.
Oh, jeez.
Like,
I know you're
Okay.
being recorded and
Yeah.
televised and everything,
yeah.
alright.
It's,
I know, I just Drupal, I never heard
Stop
of
lying,
Drupal.
we're going up.
Yeah.
well,
we're
I
up
think
7.
Drupal 10 is the next version, but
It just went 3, 10.
yeah.
Sounds like a cartoon, Drupal.
It's a website, it's an HTML software.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, I don't think that geeky stuff.
So we're doing that, and
It's
it
gotta
will,
be awesome.
it will be at the end of the year, it will slightly change the look and power of the town
Awesome,
website.
I look forward to Drupal.
Yeah. Over the past week, I attended the following meetings: the Watershed Advisory Board. I went to the Economic Forecast presentation and breakfast hosted by the North Central Chamber of Commerce and the Greater Gardner Chamber of Commerce. We held a Green Communities Grant kickoff. I look forward to that project. I went to 2 emergency planning meetings where we worked on the COOP, the continuing operations plan. I'm hoping that with continued effort, that will be able to come in front of you within, I think, 3 months, 6 months? It's gonna be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Chief loves to sit through those
Yeah.
meetings.
I went to a library trustee meeting and had a good few conversations over there. I look forward to working with them on some of the projects that came of that. Tricia's going to be starting a Dungeons and Dragons club.
For the libraries and teen programming, and we got solidification from the trustees to have a special story time at the town meeting to offer parents a chance to attend a town meeting and have childcare while at the town meeting.
Wow.
Keep kids kind of out of earshot when things, you know, get spicy. But that way too, more parents are able to come to the town meeting because there will be
That's
childcare. So I'll be doing that in the cafeteria, and Katie has offered up 2 of her lovely children
Oh, yes,
to
they were
help volunteer.
Voluntold.
And I will also be reaching out to Monty Tech, their early childhood education, to see if we can get maybe a couple of girls or kids that need the practical hours.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Awesome.
If our town clerk wasn't busy, she used to manage a daycare.
But she will be busy, so I got this.
Coming in, you
I
want
got
a
this.
collection for the first time? Ooh, good luck.
Is that it?
That, the full report
Learn.
is much longer and available tomorrow.
Yeah.
Any
I have a feeling you'll do
questions,
just
any
fine.
comments on the TA report? Alright, then we'll move on, We're
Wish we had a-
policies to review, we don't have any.
None this evening.
Matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair, are there any?
Yeah, I have a matter. When the superintendent and the school committee were here at our last joint meeting, I think the superintendent spoke about a potential revised, budget number at the end of April. Have we heard anything
We
from
have
her
not.
about that yet?
We got the cherry sheet assessments did come out and they were not as positive as I think anyone would have liked them to have been. But we are now waiting for an update based on those numbers. But from the school system, but the cherry sheet numbers only came out like Friday afternoon.
Yeah, she
So-
said, yeah, okay. Very good, thank you.
Alright. Anything else? Public press questions, anyone have any comments from public or press? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to meet, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.